Hey besties, it's me, your resident highlighting warrior who forgets everything the moment the book closes. Have you ever spent hours studying, turning your textbook into an aesthetic rainbow of highlights, feeling super productive, only to close the book and find your brain as empty as my wallet after a shopping spree? Even worse, you actually thought you mastered the material until the moment you actually needed it and realized you didn't remember a single thing. This is the most dangerous trap in self-learning, the illusion of competence. You think you know, but you don't even know what you don't know. So, what's the quick fix to escape this rote learning nightmare? It's metacognition. Simply put, it's thinking about your thinking. Instead of just blindly cramming info, you need to step back and act like a judge, asking yourself, is my brain actually grasping this, or is it just playing me with the feeling of familiarity? In today's video, I'm going to expose how your brain lies to you and guide you through a 5-step roadmap to mastering metacognition, breaking the illusion of mindless hard work. The drone view, how to monitor your own brain. Surviving the Dunning-Kruger peak, getting past the expert ego. The Feynman Audit, the most practical way to test your knowledge. The feedback loop, ensuring your knowledge never fades away. Plus, at the end of the video, I've got a bonus tool called the Knowledge Gap Map, so you can pinpoint exactly where your brain is lagging and fix it instantly. Buckle up, bestie. Let's hack your brain together. Step 1. Breaking the illusion of mindless hard work. Be honest, how many highlighters do you have in your pencil case? I know some of you highlight so much that the page gets soaked, looking like a piece of abstract art. But here's the brutal truth. Highlighting and rereading are the most brainless study methods in human history. Why do I say that? When you read a passage over and over, your brain starts to find it familiar. That feeling of familiarity tricks you into thinking, oh, I've got this. But in reality, that is just recognition, not recall. It's like seeing a familiar face on the street. You recognize them but you have absolutely no idea what their name is. It's the same in an exam. The question looks so familiar, you even remember it was on page 25 in the top left corner, but the actual answer? Your brain just draws a blank. This illusion is extremely dangerous because it makes you feel like you're being productive. You sit at your desk for 5 hours, you run through 3 highlighters, and you tell yourself, wow, I'm working so hard. No, bestie. You're just performing a study ritual to comfort yourself. To truly master metacognition, the first step is having the courage to admit that. Knowing something and understanding something are two completely different things. Stop the passive cramming because that's nothing more than fake productivity. Step 2. The drone view, how to monitor your own brain. The term metacognition sounds pretty academic and fancy, right? But it's actually quite simple. Imagine you're playing a role-playing game, RPG. Usually you're the character holding the sword, fighting monsters. That's when you're learning. But metacognition isn't that character. It's the mini-map in the corner of your screen, or a drone hovering above, watching everything. It doesn't fight the monsters, but it tells you, hey, your health is low. Watch out, there's a dead end ahead. Or, you're going the wrong way, turn back. In other words, metacognition is the ability to think about your thinking. Instead of just blindly reading, your metacognitive brain steps to the side and asks, why have I read this paragraph 3 times and still don't get it? Is it because I'm too tired? Or how does this info connect to what I learned yesterday? Most people fail at self-learning because they are hardworking laborers without a smart manager. You're working yourself to the bone, but you don't realize the machine you're using is broken. Metacognition is that tough but fair CEO who constantly reminds you, hold on a minute, this method isn't working. Try something else. If you don't turn this drone on, you'll forever be just a blind warrior on the battlefield of knowledge. Step 3. Surviving the Dunning-Kruger peak, getting past the expert ego. Have you ever finished watching 1 or 2 tutorial videos on YouTube, or read the first chapter of a textbook, and suddenly felt like a genius? Your brain goes, oh, is that it? Cybersecurity is easy? YouTube? Piece of cake. Well, congratulations, bestie. You have officially reached the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger graph. This is a fascinating psychological phenomenon. When you know just a tiny bit, your confidence skyrockets to the clouds. Why? Because you lack metacognition so much that you aren't even qualified enough to realize how much you're actually missing. You're looking at the world through a pinhole, yet you think you're seeing the entire sky. This is a dangerously critical stage of self-learning because once you think you're an expert, your brain shuts down and stops absorbing new information. This is where your drone, metacognition, needs to come to the rescue. It should smack you on the head and say, get real, babe. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Truly skilled people often pass through the valley of despair, where they realize that knowledge is vast and they still have so much to learn. So, if you're feeling overly confident after just a few hours of study, be careful. You might just be knowledge drunk rather than a genius. Want to know if you're actually good? Don't listen to your infatuated brain. Move on to the next part to learn how to audit your mind in the most brutal way possible. Step 4. The Feynman Audit, the most practical way to test your knowledge. To escape that peak of Mount Stupid I mentioned earlier, you need a truth detector. And that machine is called the Feynman technique. This is the most brutal yet effective way to audit your brain. The process is simple. Pick a concept you just learned and try to explain it to a 5-year-old, or even your cat. Why a child? Because kids don't understand jargon. If you still have to use big fancy words like network protocols or data structures to explain it, you're actually just using terminology to mask your own lack of understanding. The moment you start saying, well, it's like that thing, congratulations, your metacognition has kicked in. That uh-oh moment when you realize you can't find simple words to describe it is exactly when your knowledge gap reveals itself. Instead of ignoring it like you usually do, take note of that exact spot where you got stuck, go back to your book, and dig deep into just that section. Don't reread the whole chapter, just focus on filling that specific hole. Someone with great metacognition knows exactly which word or which step they're stuck on, instead of just whining, I don't get any of this. Remember, bestie, if you can't explain it to your cat, you're just like the cat, knowing absolutely nothing. Step 5. The feedback loop, ensuring your knowledge never fades away. If the Feynman technique is a truth detector, then active recall is how you nail that knowledge into your brain forever. Most of you choose the input method when studying, just reading, watching, or listening. But true metacognition only happens during output. Instead of opening your book to reread chapter 1, close it and ask yourself, what on earth did I just read? At that moment, your brain has to scavenge through its memory drawers to find the answer. This process is painful and exhausting, but that is exactly when neural connections are formed. The secret to making your drone, metacognition, most effective is creating a feedback loop. After every self-test, you must compare your answer with the source immediately. If you're wrong, don't be sad. Celebrate. Because the exact moment you realize you're wrong is when your metacognition peaks. You have officially known what you didn't know. A great learner isn't someone who never makes mistakes. It's someone who turns every mistake into a brick to build their fortress of knowledge. Remember, don't study like a photocopy machine. Study like a hacker cracking the code of your own brain. So we've finished our journey of brain-expanding metacognition. Let's recap the map for you. Break the illusion. Don't trust mindless hard work. Turn on the drone. Always monitor your own thinking. Survive Mount Stupid. Stay humble before the vastness of knowledge. Feynman Audit. Explain it to a cat or a 5-year-old. Nail it with active recall. Always prioritize output over input. And as promised, here is the bonus for the warriors who stayed until the end. The Learning Journal. After every study session, instead of just shutting down and going to sleep, spend exactly 2 minutes writing down 3 things. What did I truly understand today? What is still making my brain feel foggy? What specific action will I take to fill that gap tomorrow? These 3 questions are your personal knowledge gap map. It tells you exactly where to combat tomorrow morning instead of scrolling TikTok looking for study inspiration. The self-learning journey is lonely and tough, but if you have metacognition as your companion, you will go further than anyone else. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can upgrade our brains together every day. Now turn off the video and go audit your brain right now. Bye-bye.